This episode of Boss Rush After Dark is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Boss Rush After Dark, the place where we talk about anything that's not content friendly for the other anchor shows of the Boss Rush Network. It's your boy LeRon Dawkins back in the house one more time with you guys. Wonderful, wonderful. Hello. Stephanie Klimov, what's going on tonight?
Hey, I'm just happy it's Wednesday night and this cursed week is almost over.
Cursed
right?
sounds like the perfect word to describe this week, honestly.
Yeah.
Corey, what say you? Derek, what say you?
It's been like just a hell of a 3 weeks or so. I mean, it's Wednesday.
Man, I'm already yawning. Jeez,
Yeah.
This does not bode well.
Wednesdays are like my really, really busy days at work, and today was extra busy because we have two extra. Well, we had an extra podcast to record, and then like an extra meeting that we usually don't have on Wednesdays, and it just is like everything just felt like. When you look at the list of things you have to do for work, and it's going to take you like 4 or 5 hours, and you have to cram it into like 60 minutes to get it all done.
Yeah.
Just like the pressure you feel is like, oh my gosh, but it's okay. I've also been purging all my old games and collectibles also, and so that's been a chore. I did sell 2 Pokemon cards and a PS2 though, so.
Oh,
nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had a white PS2, which was like, I remember when I was looking for that, I got it really cheap and I was really excited, and then I just was like, I don't know, do I really need this? So I just got.
Oh, real quick for the Pokemon cards thing, if like you don't sell more between now and PAX, depending, because I don't think you have that much, right? It might be worth flying them to PAX with you because there are booths where they're like Pokemon card or card dealers, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just think about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I thought about that a while ago too. I'm like, well, I could probably just take some with me and see if somebody will take them off my hands.
Well, you're going to the biggest dork well, it's not the biggest dork convention, but there's tabletop gaming, so that's definitely a prime place.
Nerds.
Yeah. So are you.
It's fair. Don't tell anybody.
So let me ask you guys this real quickly, and then we can get into our topics. Because you guys are on your way to PAX, like what's the one thing that you would love to have happen to you while you're there?
Meets or run into people and meet people that you don't know, or like, so the last time I went, I met Major Nelson from Xbox. I met Jeff Rubenstein from Xbox. I met Morgan Webb from XPlay, old XPlay.
I think of all places, this would be the perfect place, actually. And if we're going to talk about objectifying, I would love to have like both the video game and TV show Last of Us folks here at PAX, because I know Troy Baker was recently at a convention, but I don't know why he won't be at this convention, because PAX East is freaking huge. If I saw Troy Baker or Pedro Pascal or Bella Ramsey, or I forget her name because I have a headache right now,
Ashley Johnson,
I will shit the floor.
By the way, wasn't Ashley Johnson's performance amazing Sunday night?
Yes, but it was a mind fuck, because when you heard her voice before you saw her, I'm like,
Ellie,
no, Ellie. It did mess me up because she sounds like Ellie, and I'm like, no, you're not Ellie. So.
And then seeing Troy the week before, like as like the weird cult dude.
Yeah. I think that would be for me, like in my fantasy world. That'd be cool if they were like the surprise guests. Other than that, I actually care more about seeing like David Lasby. No, not even David Lasby.
The people.
Corey.
Our people.
our people.
I'm sorry I can't make it this year. Like there's just stuff that just went down, and I have to reassess.
It's
Look,
all
I
right.
think I think we already need to pre-plan for the next convention, right? Like I don't know if it's, PAX East next year or PAX West later or something, but I think we all need to you know, have the goal of us, because that's the biggest thing is we have so many friends here on Boss Rush, but very few of us have ever met any of us in person, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Spoilers, guys, for this podcast. I've never met LeRon or Stephanie in person. So
Not yeah.
the only
But
person I've met is Ed in
oh
person.
my gosh. And let me tell you the magical feeling when I saw Ed in person for the first time. It was at the Midwest Gaming Classic convention, whatever,
Hmm.
and I
Mhm.
saw him from across the room and I like ran jumped to him. Like I just felt like I
Hmm.
was meeting an old friend and this was the first time I've met Ed in the flesh. And I'm like, "Oh my
Hmm.
gosh."
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna freak Lasby out because I know he's a major introvert, but so am I. But like, I know I'm gonna like give him a hug, and he'll be scared of me.
Well, I'm not sure a major gaming convention with 25,000 people. It might probably
Yeah.
not for an introvert. No, I'm excited for that
Yeah.
too. I
Dan Murphy and I hung out in Richmond, Virginia, for a half a day. Like
Nice.
we ate some really spicy Thai food.
mm,
Yummy.
mm,
Yeah, like it was really spicy because we were looking at it, right, and they went on a 1 to 4 scale, not a 1 to 5 scale, right? So
mm.
so we're like, you know what? We're not punk ass bitches here. We're gonna roll a 3.
Ooh.
We're gonna roll a 3. Whoo boy. You're
Uh,
sitting there like, man, are you sweating? Like, yes, I'm sweating. Like this ice water is not helping.
the uh, the Indian place by work. my my boss goes every time he goes in there. Like sometimes we go there to eat as a team or whatever for like team lunch or whatever, and he always goes in there and he just looks at the person taking order. He's like, "I'm white, so mild." That's all. That's every time he's like, they just look at him like, "We see that, thanks."
No, there's something to Indian food and certain Asian cuisine where their level of hotness or spiciness in a dish is not a joke. And then I know it's generalizing, but like when I see Mexican food, spicy is I don't know, like I feel like I can handle spicy Mexican food, but I made the mistake of ordering a spicy ramen and I picked like the middle of the road number and I had like 3 bites, my mouth was on fire and I literally couldn't stomach the rest. It was the worst feeling of my life.
Oh God, the spicy ramen food spicy ramen is no joke. I was about to say it's
Mhm.
ramen food. I meant to say spicy Asian food, but yeah. But spicy ramen might as well be its own food.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Troy Baker just put out a TikTok with a script of his new project, and I'm trying to figure out what the project is. Somebody probably already figured it out, but
Mm.
anyways, he's in a mocap suit with the
Oh, I
dots on
think I
his
saw that
face.
on Instagram. I know it's so, like man, being an actor these days, when you're,
Hmm.
like, literally in just a room and you're trying to pretend like you're fighting a dragon or something, I don't know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm really, I'm really excited. I just want to meet everybody because, it's just, I don't know. I feel like when people start meeting each other and that's I feel like it would bring us closer together in some weird way. It's just like,
Bonding in person can
yes,
bring people together, Corey.
I know, but but sometimes when you meet people in person, you're like, oh, you suck. you know, no offense,
True.
people that I've met in person, but some of you suck.
Oh, I got it. I'm
So
I'm also and last thing, like, I'm looking forward to when I say merch, I mean the things that I discover there, like the things that I just would not expect, like the things that I didn't expect at the last PAX that delighted me the most was like that Street Fighter bomber jacket.
Mhm.
Perky little things, just finding
Mm,
that there. I
I
was like,
forgot about that.
with a full-on art book. Woo! It's like, like unique things. There's one guy and he will be there, and I saved money for this year. Art O Vision. He does like 3D art renderings of games, and there's an Ocarina of Time one that I am saving for.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm also going to try to go to the Cleveland Gaming Classic this year, which is like a
Mm,
small version of PAX that hardly anybody knows about. But last year there were people from the Mortal Kombat movie there, and a couple other semi big celebrities, I guess, voice
that's
actors,
cool.
actors. So, and it's like 20 minutes from my house, so I can just drive there and come home. Anyways, what are we talking about tonight, LeRon?
Okay, so let's see. We've got a topic here. And actually this might be pretty wild. Um,
Wild.
are there any stories in your life that would make good TV, movie, or Life is Strange slash Telltale style game? Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have two ideas. Um, both funny in different ways. The first one is something that I've already talked about, so that's what I'll probably spend the least time detailing because it's been on a previous episode, right, guys? Is my trials and tribulations working at a retail pharmacy.
Hmm.
Like that, like would be I can imagine it being like The Office, but
Mhm.
retail pharmacy version, a mockumentary. Insane shit happens, and the sad part is they would be taken from real life where real life stuff happens. Like
Hmm.
guys boasting about picking up their Viagra to use it on their mistresses instead of their wife. Or women who are driving their Escalades through drive-through telling me they can't afford their Adderall. Oh, and by the way, I take Adderall so I can stay skinny. People who don't get their narcotics on time, destroy all the items on the shelves on their way out. Um, you know,
What the hell?
oh yeah, people describing how they insert medications into the wrong orifice, people lifting up
Ah,
people lifting up their
ah.
shirts showing me what kind of bump I need to diagnose. Oh yeah.
What
This
kind of
go
bump you need to diagnose?
Mhm. Yeah. And there's
Dr.
actually
Steph.
like a lot of workplaces, but it was ripe with drama too. Not that I was in, but I'm forced right into the situation. There was just so much crazy, insane, almost like high school like drama that occurs. So I just feel like it would be perfect TV. I hate to say
Mm.
it. Um, that's one, and the other one would probably be Steph's trials and tribulations at strip clubs because that apparently is a thing.
Aw,
Um, I
snap.
I actually went to one for the first time since the pandemic this past weekend, and that was actually probably the lamest and tamest that I've ever been because I've apparently really cleaned up my act, and now when I go, I'm not as exciting, and therefore the stories aren't as exciting.
Uh-huh.
But I say that as kind of a joke, but it's because of I don't know. I do have a fascination about it, and not in a gross, perverted way necessarily. It's just, growing up, I used to be so judgmental and scared of like the idea of a strip joint. Like, oh my gosh, if I ever have a boyfriend, they're never going to be allowed to go to a strip club. It's horrible. It's cheating. It's the worst thing in the world. And obviously, it comes from a place of insecurity, right? When
Yeah.
I was old enough to go, I went there, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but, like okay, maybe I can find it just, like, when you go there, it's not what you see in the movies, basically.
Mhm.
It's not I mean, unless you go to, like, a really bougie, expensive one in the heart of New York City, they're gonna be your average looking girls, like, and if you go to a really seedy place, they're gonna be very I'm just saying, like, they're not these beautiful, gorgeous, flawless models with a nice butt and big boobs all the time. It's not. And so
A for
there
effort.
A for effort. And again, that's not me judging them. It's more like my expectations and thoughts about a strip club have been kind of reset, so I felt less intimidated. Plus, I'm bisexual, so I enjoyed going too. But I'm just saying, like, okay. But they're just that's my fascination behind it. So once I started going, I didn't go a lot, but like if I had a boyfriend, I'd be like, hey, let's go together. And no, this isn't a trick. Let's just go.
Let's just
And
go.
and there've been times where people would just say that I'm really funny at a strip club because when I go, I get super chatty and I just try to have conversations with strippers, which is like, I don't know, kind of the lame thing to do. And I think I've told this story when I was on Bourbon Street. I drank too much and didn't realize I was walking into a strip club. And because I was trying to make conversation with the stripper, she tried to pull me on stage, telling me, let's make some
Oh,
money, honey. And I was too nervous and scared. So I said, no, but then I fell off the stage. And then the lady who owned the bar, like, came at me and was chastising me and telling me to come back on Tuesday if I really wanted to try
oh
out.
wow, really?
Yeah, so just a lot of funny stories there, and I think topical. People would think that's funny. I don't know, but a lot of interesting stories, and I don't know. Even when I went this past, well, like I said, this past weekend when I went was different. I was there and I went at like 6 o'clock on a Saturday because I'm old. I'm like, there's nobody here. Um, and then I don't know, like it just became like like because the place that I go to, it's actually relatively classy. It's not full nude. It's not super gross, and I don't know. I don't know. It's just and it's also the people watching.
Uh,
A lot of
the
interesting
people
people.
watching.
Yeah, there was this portly old man walking around there yesterday. And like I wasn't sure to be like creeped out or I thought it was cute, but he was literally walking around to every stripper giving them a Lindt chocolate bunny. I was like, okay. Anyway, that's my spiel of two things about my life that would make good entertainment media, whatever.
Ugh.
Well, I have one. And it probably plays just like either a scene from a movie or like something out of a TV show or whatnot. I used to well, he's still my friend, but I used to have a buddy that this guy his sole purpose was just to get laid as much as possible and stuff like that. And he was kind of into some wild stuff and things like that. So like he and this is back when like meeting people on the internet was like if you think meeting people on the internet now is sketch, like it was
Mm.
sketch way it was sketch 10, 15 years ago. Let's just put it that way. So like this is my buddy, like he's always in chat rooms and stuff, right? And 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 I can't remember for sure how it started off, but he called me one day and he's like, hey, he's like he's like, hey, would you mind taking a road trip with me? And I was like,
Mm.
road trip where? And he's like right outside of Maryland. I was like, are we going to Maryland or are we or what? He's like, no, we're not crossing the Maryland state line. We'll still be in Virginia. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I've got nothing better to do on a Saturday afternoon and stuff like that. So I asked him, well, like, what are we going to do? He's like, well, I'm going to meet this girl. I was like, come on, dude. Like, we're driving all this way just to go meet some girl. And he's like, yeah, yeah.
Huh.
He's like, I think she's down. I was like, she better be down if we're driving 4 hours, for this. And I'm like, wait, I'm like, so what am I gonna do? Like, does she have a friend or whatnot? And he's like, well, I don't know. I was like, oh, so basically you want me there just to keep you company for the road trip, but that's about it and everything. So anyway we go. We wind up like in the sticks, and like he's texting her and stuff, and like she's giving him all these directions and stuff. Like eventually by like 9:30 at night, because like we weren't lost, but it seemed like we were just having the runaround, like stuff like
Oh
that.
no.
Yeah. So we just turn around. We just turn around. We come back home. So that was on a Saturday, right? So so the week starts on a Tuesday night after I'm getting off from work. This is back when I used to work for UPS. On a Tuesday night when I'm getting off from work, I get a call. I get a call from a buddy, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "You're not gonna believe this." I'm like, "What?" remember last weekend when we went out to like see that girl and everything, and we thought she was just a flake and like trying to lure us out in the woods to kill us and whatnot. I was like, yeah. He's like, well, she's here now. I was like, here where? He's like, in my place. I was like, what? I was like, cool. So I was like, will I be able to meet her, or is this one of the situations where you don't want to be seen with her? He's like, no. He's like, you can come over, but come over in a couple of hours. I was like, oh, I see what's up.
Uh-huh.
So check this out. And so I think I went to his apartment like a few hours later. His roommate knock on the door, and his roommate opens the door. When his roommate sees me, like his roommate like comes, shuffles. You know how people try to are trying to hide something in the house, right?
Yeah.
His roommate shuffles through the door, like closes the door behind him. He's like, "Hey, you're not gonna believe this." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "He's like, your boy is in there. Your boy's in there for white girl." I was like, "Okay, like I already knew this." He's like, "No." He's like, she's tied up butt naked. She's tied up butt naked in his closet with a sock in her mouth. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, wait, what? I was like, huh? And he's like, he says it again. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. He's like, no, I am not lying. That's why I came out the door to meet you, because I could not believe it. Like, I'm like, have you been here this whole time? He's like, no, I just came home 15 minutes ago. And he was bold enough to show me this shit, and I was like, oh my god. So we go back. So me and his roommate go back inside the apartment, but neither one of us are going into his bedroom. So I knock on his door, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, like, can you come out for a minute? Because I need an explanation and stuff like that." So he comes out, and he's telling me all this stuff. He's like, "No," he's like, she wanted this fantasy done. And I'm like, "Oh, you're the guy to give it to her, right?" And stuff like that. And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I was like, "Well, what's going on right now?" He's like, "Well, she's getting dressed, and I'm going to take her back home." I'm like, I was like, you're driving 4 hours, to take her back. It's like 11 o'clock at night right now. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not going with you. I have to go to work in the morning. So
Whoa.
this is where this is where it gets strange, right? So like he takes her home, and somewhere around, I believe, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, right? I get a phone call from his roommate. And he's like, hey, dude, you're not gonna believe this. I'm like, what? I'm like, first of all, tell me he's back home. He's like, I just spoke to him on the phone. He's like an hour and he's like an hour out from here and everything. I was like, okay. And then he's like, hey, there is a U.S. Marshal here at our place. And I was like,
What?
why is it? I was like, okay. I was like, are you fucking with me? Because like we've already had the situation where someone was tied up in the closet with no clothes on with a sock in their mouth. Are you trying to tell me right now that this is not a joke? And he's like, yeah. And immediately like the guy gets on the phone with me, and he's like, hey, he's like, what's your name? I'm LeRon, and he's like, hey, do you know, I'm not disclosing names just for the sake of anonymity and stuff like that. But he was like, do you know so and so? That's my friend, right? And I was
Uh-huh.
like, yes, I know him. He's like, okay, well, your friend's in a lot of trouble right now. And I'm like, why is that? He's like, because we got a tip that he kidnapped somebody from, and he said the county, and I immediately knew. I was like, we were just in the back of my head. I was like, we were just there a few days ago.
Oh.
So this guy starts asking me all these questions and everything, right? And so I give him my story. I was like, hey, like this is what happened. We went up there on a Saturday. He met somebody online, and I decided to go with him just to make sure he was safe. And he was like, okay, well, what else do you know? I'm like, well, the only other thing I know is like today was Tuesday, and he told me that he met up with her and she came down here. And he's like, well, yeah, he went and picked her up. And I was like, okay, that sounds right. Like, yeah, in the back of my head, I'm like, he does crap like this all the time. He doesn't go like across a few county lines to do it and stuff like that. So then all of a sudden, like, home dude starts getting really aggressive with me. He starts asking me all these questions and all this stuff. And then he's like, do you know right now you're an accessory? I'm like, how am I an accessory? I didn't go up there with him to bring her back. I'm like, how am I an accessory? Everything. He's like, well, you knew she was here. I was like, I don't know the circumstances was going on and all that stuff. So basically, long story short, like my friend finally gets back home and everything, right? And so I at that point I'm like, you know what? I'm really scared, but I'm gonna go over to his apartment and see if we can all iron this stuff out. Because I'm sitting there like I'm about to get arrested, for being an accessory on some federal charges and stuff like that. So I get over to my friend's place. Yeah, sure enough, that marshal's there with another guy. Like, right, I can see the black cars out in the parking lot and everything, right? So like, yeah, like we're answering all these questions and everything, right? And like it's getting to the point where it's looking like really dire for my boy. Like I basically was able to say, hey, look, I don't have anything to do with this situation that's happening right now and stuff like that. I can definitely tell you that I was there with him on Saturday, but nothing happened on Saturday. While he's taking official statements at this point now. Like I for like the last hour or so, like I've just been talking to the guy, but he's now like taking actual statements, writing stuff down, and he actually had me sign the statement and everything, right? And I'm sitting there like, okay, and I was reading this stuff, and I was like, and I can see where it's like under penalty of this, under penalty of that, you will be arrested and all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I'm going to fucking jail for some stupid shit that I didn't even participate in. And so they sit me, his roommate, and him down on the couch and go talking about it, and then so we can hear them talking, and all of a sudden he gets a call on his radio, and we hear him. He's like, "Go ahead," and we hear him like, "Yeah, uh-huh, okay, for real. Oh well, that's gonna be a whole new problem," and we all look at each other like, "Fuck, what now?" Officer, the marshal comes back, and he's like, "Okay, guys." He's like, here's what's going to happen. We're leaving. And the reason why we're leaving is because we just got confirmed that this was a false alarm. And so because I kind of like to know where I'm at and where I stand with all sorts of stuff, especially legal stuff. The first thing I asked him, like, what type of false alarm? He's like, basically, it sounds like this was a prank. Like she wanted to actually be brought down this way, and the moment she left her house, she had a friend call and say someone came and took her.
I'm sorry, did you say that was a guess or that's what really happened?
No, that's what happened. That's what happened. They were able.
That was part of her fantasy, is to have a friend call and say she was kidnapped?
Yeah, kidnap / rape fantasy and stuff like that.
Leave the cops out of that part. That's fuck. She crazy.
So to this day now, whenever I talk to my boys, I'm like, hey, dude, like you're not going out in the sticks, like picking up some hillbilly chick, right? And like trying to get laid now, right? Let's just say he has not learned his lesson. He's married now, but like for the longest time, like he was still like just picking up randos on the internet.
Ooh,
So I almost caught federal charges for kidnap. I guess it would be second degree rape because like I did because I'd been an accessory at that point. Yeah,
that's horrible. That's a
yeah,
crazy amount of consequences that would have followed you for the rest of your life.
right. And the funny part was I kept telling the investigator. I was like, look, I was at work today. Like I didn't even know he brought this person back until I got off from work.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is the first time I've actually this is actually the first time I actually told that story to anybody in a way that it can be repeated because it's on podcast now. I've told this to people, before in person and stuff like that, but now it's about to be on the internet.
Well, you know what? That would make a fantastic fucking scene or movie or whatever. Dang.
What a twist. And like,
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you guys this. I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. Like I was so afraid that shit was going down that I called my baby sister just to give her an idea.
Oh,
Like, hey. And at the time, I want to say my sister was maybe all of like 22 at the time.
not
Yeah, as a matter of
okay.
fact, I was 30. Yeah, I was 34. She was 22. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Imagine that.
that's crazy, man. Oh,
That's my TV show or movie moment.
That's a
I
good
feel like
one.
I feel like it's not good enough to be in a video game, unfortunately.
I feel like I can't follow that up with anything.
Yes, you can. You had all this time to think about it.
I know, but I was so intrigued by the story. I gotta.
Well, you had all the time during my boring stories to think about it.
I was intrigued by your story as well, Stephanie.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, so I mean, I worked at I worked in a restaurant for 12 years, so I mean, you could just imagine the stories that come out of there. I mean, uh, just like either people quitting or Christmas parties, or even just like I don't know, trying to trying to like, oh, you like this one girl that works there, and you see her in the freezer, and then she likes you, and
Oh, my bad. My bad.
I'm
I remember I just told a story about someone being like tied up, as naked with a sock in their mouth. My brain just went there. My bad.
and then there's a lot of that stuff, and then I don't know. I don't know where you go. Gosh, man, LeRon, you're just so good. I don't know if I can find anything that's even close.
I'm not making this up either.
Um, man, did I ever tell? Okay, did I ever tell my blind date story on this show?
I don't recall. I
I
don't
don't
recall a blind
know.
date story.
I told somebody this story anyway, but anyways, I'll tell it anyway because this would be pretty funny for, I guess, maybe for a comedy or something. I
Mhm.
so when I was working at the restaurant, I had just gotten out of a relationship with someone, and my friend was like, "Hey, you know what you need? You need to come hang out with me and my girlfriend and her friend. She's single, she's cute, and we're gonna go hang out. You should come with us." I said,
Do we ever
"Okay."
trust that?
Mm.
Not since then. Also, the movie Twilight was involved, but we'll get there.
Oh, yuck.
Uh, so we went to hang out, and we went to his name was, well, I don't want to give out names. I guess it's probably shouldn't be
His
Yeah,
letting
name
yeah.
is
Try
people
to
know.
try to
his name is Bradford.
Yes,
I don't know.
Bradford.
Bradford.
Uh, so we went to his house, and him and his girlfriend were like hanging out there, and her friend was supposed to meet us there, and then she called and said, "Hey, I need picked up," uh, because of a reason that I don't remember. And so
Because of a reason.
yeah. Well, the reason was she had been drinking almost the entire night and was too drunk to drive
Oh
Oh
anywhere.
shit.
my
Anywhere.
gosh.
So she gets in the car, and she's drunk as fuck. Like, I couldn't believe she had the capacity to get in the car. So we go back to his house, and I'll cut it out. It's fine. What's the timestamp? 35, 36 minutes. Okay. So we go, and we're hanging out. I don't even remember this girl's name, to be 100% honest with you. And
That
they're
sounds like
like,
fun.
"What do you want to do?" And obviously, this was like in the middle of the Twilight phase of movies and popularity, and like
Uh-huh.
one of the movies was about to come out, and my friend and I had never seen the first one. I was like, "Whatever." I'm in my 20s, and you know, guys do dumb things for girls that they want to impress, and for some reason I was dumb and wanted to make a good impression, even though I kind of knew in my mind that this probably wasn't going to work out.
Mhm.
And so she's like dead quiet the whole time, and I'm like trying to make small talk with her, like, trying to be a human.
Be a human.
Yeah, and she's just like dead quiet, like she's answering my questions, but like she was like passing out, right, and like waking up and answering me, and then she was like whatever. And I went to my friend. I'm like, man, what's going on? He's like, well, I don't know. And then whatever, because they were fine, they were sober and fine and whatever. And they turn on the movie, and we're sitting there talking and watching the movie, and I'm like trying to pretend like I'm interested in asking questions because they're super obsessed with the movie.
Mhm.
And like halfway through, she just looks at me, like eyeballs me, like from head to toe, and she's like, "Yeah, I'd fuck you with my rubber dick."
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Of all things, I was not thinking that.
nope,
Yeah.
neither was I. And then she puts her hand on my thigh and like licks my face,
Mm.
and then decides she has to leave. I'm just like, what the fuck just happened?
What is it with really drunk chicks licking your face? Because I had a really drunk chick lick my face too, and I was very uncomfortable.
I don't know. I don't like people touching my face anyway. I'm like really weird about that. Like, okay, if you want to like kiss me on the cheek or something, if it's like a family member or like I don't know, my wife doesn't make me uncomfortable. I would hope not, but it's just like, man, people like touching and licking and like doing things like this to your face. Like, stop touching my face.
I
The
don't
fact,
blame you. I don't blame you. And like licking the face, like God, like personal boundaries.
yeah. So
She wanted to fuck you with her rubber dick.
I know that was a story at work for a long time.
My
I'm telling you,
goodness.
Corey, butt stuff is fun stuff.
Mm,
I don't know about that.
I'm sorry, I'm just a perv. My bad.
Well, no, it's well, I don't want to get off topic here, but it's one of those things where I want to be able to get into, but I am such a wimp with pain.
I hear
Anyway,
you. I hear you. I hear you. That's all I'm
actually,
gonna say. That's all.
I did do some extracurricular shopping, and I'm waiting for that to come in the mail next week, and we'll see what
oh
happens.
boy.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's not a rubber dick though.
Mm,
I did see a rubber fist on the
mm.
site, and I'm like,
Yeah, those are
is it like a rubber chicken or is it like a solid
I didn't.
fist of plastic?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see any of these rubber body parts, so I can't tell you what it was. For all I know, it was one of those Cyberpunk 2077 ones, the monster dicks with the spikes
Oh
on it, and I would have
snap.
been super scared. But you know, uh,
Yeah, they don't call it prosthetic for a reason.
no. I actually, I don't know if I want to tell the story on air. I probably have. I probably could, and it'd get a good laugh. But I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Hey, it happens.
Mhm.
Well, we ready to wrap this up?
Sure.
Always
Great.
wrap it up. Don't.
Yes.
Wait. Oh,
Don't be a
you
fool.
know,
Wrap your tool.
Mm-hmm.
well, Corey can't like wrap it up like traditionally though.
It's true. Lambskin smells.
Him his latex out. He's always,
Mm. Don't be a
Just
dummy. Come on her tummy.
no, just get snipped. Snip, snip.
No doubt pull out. That doesn't always
yeah.
work.
You know, are you and your wife done having kids, Corey?
Oh yeah.
Or y'all thinking? Or
I
y'all
hope
thinking
so.
there may be another one?
Get a vasectomy, dude.
So which one of y'all? I was gonna say which one of y'all is going under the knife? Is it gonna be you getting the vasectomy? Or is she gonna get her tube side?
No, we've talked about it a little bit. It's gonna be me. Probably sooner than later.
Sorry. It'll
I
be
don't care.
fine. It's
I
good. It's
don't
for
care.
the
It was actually my
just
idea because
remember,
it's a lot less dangerous.
yeah, that for one. But just remember, like you got to make sure the tank is completely empty.
Mm,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So like hopefully your wife understands that you're gonna have to jerk off quite a few times.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. Well.
No,
All
no,
right,
a friend of mine.
let's get away from the image of Corey emptying his tank, please.
Yeah.
Ah!
I don't even like that image.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us for this edition of Boss Rush After Dark. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I guess it's so easy with Corey sometimes because Corey gets embarrassed easily about some of this stuff sometimes. It's
I
funny,
don't.
but also what I love about you, Corey, is that you will volunteer the information. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's
look, it's life. It is what it is, right? We've all done
Yeah.
things, and like, okay, who cares? It's not like, look, it's not like it's not like anybody I like truly care about is listening to this episode, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, we're
Corey,
not
you're
that big.
pure.
We're not that big yet.
also like, we all have done things, and
Oh
they
yeah.
make good stories. Let's be honest.
I'm still doing things that we're being honest.
Hey, no, you know
Yeah.
what? You're pure, Corey. And like, I think was it the last topic or the topic before about like what things that we weren't proud about in previous relationships? Like that was a big thing for me to kind
Mhm.
of talk about quote unquote publicly. But again, it's because I'm so comfortable with you guys. You guys are the best. I love you.
Oh, well, I love you too, Stephanie.
Oh,
I love you both too, except
yay.
Oh,
except for
oh.
LeRon sometimes.
Wow, wow! I really wish I was going to PAX now. It could have been one big love fest this weekend.
I
Man,
told you, LeRon, you could have been my roommate, but you
Yeah, and I
yelled at
had
me
tickets to
for
Friday and Saturday.
and you yelled at me
Mm.
for not
It's-
snoring or for
well,
snoring or something.
well, I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, honestly, like I also would need some reserve money, and like right now, like money is, I'm not poor or anything, but like I don't have like funds to like travel right now.
That's
Don't worry,
fair.
LeRon. I'll keep an eye out for that Isaac Clarke helmet at the limited run booth.
Oh, all right. Well,
I'll buy
that's
myself a lot of stuff, LeRon. I'm not buying you anything.
Oh, I know you're not. You're taking a giant wad of Pokemon cards. It's like you just want to deal
You know,
crack.
you know what I'll buy you, LeRon? If there's a Saints
What's
Row
that?
3 dildo bat, I'll buy it for you and send it to you.
Hey, hell yes, hell yes. Purple and floppy, hell
Oh
yes.
God, I still can't believe they sent that out as like a swag thing.
All right, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and sign off for tonight. Check the show notes in the descriptions. Whether you're catching this on YouTube or on the audio podcast, you'll find all the information for how to get in contact with us. Thanks to all of our patrons out there. Like we love you. Like you're you're a big part of the reason why we do this, and we're able to keep it coming for you. Keep it coming.
Oh.
Don't
On
come.
behalf of Stephanie and Corey, we're signing off. Come back for our next all new episode of Boss Rush After Dark, where we talk about content that's not always approved for the anchor shows of the network.
Like draining
We
your
love
tank.
you. Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah,
to
like-
draining your tank anymore.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Life's tough. Get a helmet. This episode of Boss Rush After Dark is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better.